Testing. Blah, 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 blah.
Ready, set, go.
It's time for the Coach Amy and Coach Liz show.
A podcast for endurance athletes by two athletes, two coaches, and a physical therapist.
We are your hosts, Coach Amy
And Coach Liz.
coming to you from
Kansas City.
And we're back.
Good morning.
Another episode of the Coach Amy and Coach Liz show. I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, that's easy.
What?
Christmas Vacation and Elf. My two favorites.
Oh,
I love
Elf
them.
is my, yeah.
Why?
Elf's
What's
one
yours?
of my favorite.
Oh,
yeah,
I
and
love
Love Actually, which, that's a Christmas movie, right?
I think it's a Christmas. Yeah, it falls under the Christmas movie. I mean, what's the Hardball or whatever that people watch? It's like the anti-Christmas movie, and so it's become the Christmas movie.
No, I don't know about this.
Yeah, you do. I'm blanking on the name. You would see. I can't think of it. I'm sure people know it. It's, I don't know, because I'm not an anti-Christmas movie person.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. But I do have this, a patient came in yesterday and we were talking about Love Actually.
Yeah.
And we were talking, she was like, oh, it's got, there's just some, because there's several different people that you're following, several different character stories that are following, they kind of overlap with each other, and some of them are kind of sad and some of them are hard to take, and you're like, ooh. And so I've seen it every year, and they'll be like, fast forward through the Alan Rickman one, because you're like, oh no, I hate it. I mean, hate that he, and so, but then you're like, no, just watch it. But then, so she said she got home and in her Instagram feed, it said there was this reel or something, but it basically was talking about how many women hate Alan Rickman because of this, and only because of the character in Love Actually. Like whole club of people.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was, let's see. What does it say here? Remember when Alan... Oh, God, I won't go over it. Maybe we'll put a link to it in the podcast if people are interested. Anyway, it's hilarious. Okay, so it is Christmas time.
It is.
And you know what my very thing I think about in the winter is I can't wait to jump into a pool.
I feel that you are not alone. I can hear the cheers out there, the cheers of excitement. It's so great in the summer, but it's even better in the winter.
Oh, yeah. When you're freezing cold.
Oh, my gosh.
Cold.
I know.
So, what do you have to tell us today?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to start introducing, like if you have a stroke that you feel like is technically at a place where you can start working on building strength and speed, how you introduce that.
Okay.
Because, and it's important for people to know, like there's so much debate around technique in swimming, and there's not a whole lot of conversation about how you should introduce speed, or what to expect when you're introducing speed, or what like getting faster at swimming looks like. I mean, it's just like people just like, I want to get faster, and then they just like, it's like they throw a bunch of shit against the wall and see what sticks, and then they've eroded all of the stuff they've done. Well, for their the technical parts of their stroke, and it is very hard to get. Trying to maintain some of the technique that you've developed is hard as you are also working on strength and speed, and there also needs to be like the expectation of what does it look to get faster. And so for triathlon, and really, I mean, even for a sprint triathlon, the distance is usually what you would consider a distance event for swimming. So like a 500 is a typical distance for a sprint in triathlon. I think Levi just got on the beanbag. Oh, that's what it was?
Okay. He's settling into his beanbag, and I thought it was something was in my earphones.
It's like a jean beanbag for Levi. That's a good commercial for Levi jeans.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Ding, ding.
We
Anyway,
got distracted.
I digress. God. Anyway, one of the things you were trying to build, if you want to get stronger and faster at swimming, is form under fatigue and a sustainable stroke that you can hold over a long distance. And just like with running, how you would run a 100-meter dash is wildly different than how you'd run, a mile, 5-mile, a marathon, right? And so that applies to swimming as well. I'm not going to get into that today, but it's important to understand that there's a big difference in understanding what you are trying to do when you're building speed and strength in swimming is important because it changes your expectation and then what you're going to actually do. So I just want there to be an awareness about that. But, you know, so you can have a technically sound stroke and not go anywhere in swimming. Why are you laughing at me?
Oh God, I'm going to interrupt again. I'm so sorry.
It's
this
fine.
poor podcast, these poor people. But it is hilarious, you guys, because Liz has notes. She's got 3 different kinds of paper. She has a notebook, a spiral bound notebook. Then she's got another piece of paper that's been cut in half. And then there's this envelope.
That's an old bank
An
envelope.
old envelope. Like,
This is
I can
the
tell you sat
professional
down 3
standards
different
I hold
times
myself
to
to.
do out your... Okay, now. All right. Seriously, back to
my professional notes.
yes.
Okay, so when you are introducing, when you're thinking about speed for swimming, there is speed skill work.
Okay.
And there is speed strength work. And those are different things. Speed strength work is like you want to build like this, the ability to go faster and go longer and then go longer, faster for longer, right? Right? You want to be able, so it's in steps, right? You're not going to start off being like, I want to just improve my speed and I'm going to start, you know, just doing 1,000 hard.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. So you would start with learning how to do
chunks, 25.
Yes. And maybe not even a 25, but like a 25 and learn how to go hard for that. And then like understand what that looks like. And then maybe progress to a 50. So it progresses very slowly. And so that's what I mean, where it's like you introduce the speed, then maybe you introduce some like speed strength so that you can hold that for a little bit longer, and then you get into like speed endurance where you can hold that speed for like 1,000 or, you know, a mile or whatever it is, right? So that happens gradually over time. So when you are going to start introducing speed to your swim, you're going to do 2 different things. One, you need to look at how you are pulling in the water. And so what I mean by that is that you have to learn how to pull hard, which sounds like duh, but people don't know how to do it and they don't know what it feels like. And so it means that you're moving your arm and it may be technically sound, but you're not moving it with any kind of strength behind it. And people think they are, but they are not. And so you need to learn what that feels like. And the best parallel and the thing that's tricky about that is that you are learning, you're not changing your motion, you're changing how you're doing the motion. And so I can't necessarily always it's hard to verbally explain that to somebody. They have to learn how to do it. And so the best way that I can explain how to do that over something like this without having you in a pool is that, you know, if you were to use a stretch band and do a pull with your arm and you feel that resistance like through your arm as you're pulling, that is what you are looking to feel in the water. Mm-hmm. It's going to be much more difficult because the water is not going to give you the same resistance as a stretch band. And so it's a little bit more elusive, but you are learning how to pull. I say pull the shit out of the water.
Yeah, you're activating those same muscles you did with the bands.
You are. And so you're looking to feel that. And I put people through a series of drills. And even just standing by the wall and like learning how to move your hand like that and pulling really fast, just so you start to learn what that feels like. And then maybe doing like, you know, 4 to 10 strokes in the water where you're feeling that and then you stop and regroup. And then you feel that and stop and regroup, so that you're starting to connect the brain with what it feels like to do your normal stroke, but with much more power behind it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I finally got to feel that, I was like, whee!
It is.
I'm flying. You feel like you're flying.
You do.
Now, the clock didn't necessarily show a huge difference, but I felt it. And over time, that it did show up in the numbers.
Like I was just talking about, right?
Yes.
So and it's true. And, you know, they talk about like distance per stroke is a thing. And a lot of people out there are probably familiar with SWOLF, which talks about like how much distance you're getting per stroke. And that means like how much forward movement you're getting per stroke.
Yeah.
Which is fine in your head and that makes sense. But what I'm talking about is how you learn to feel that in the water.
Yes.
And then you move because you're noticing how much farther you move on the bottom of the pool, like how much, you know, or maybe you watch the lane lines and you can see how much farther you move, or, you know, you can actually manually count your strokes. You don't necessarily need your watch to do that. You don't necessarily need a SWOLF count.
Back in my day.
We just did count your strokes. So if you are like, you know, the fewer strokes, for the length, the farther you're getting with each stroke count. So it gives you some information about how you're pulling.
Yeah.
So that is one concept that you want to be familiar with. And then the other thing is that you have to introduce very specifically is turnover. So how fast your arms are moving, right? And so like just in running, you do like cadence drills. So like mix up your cadence, get warmed up, all of that sort of stuff. It's the same thing in swimming. Now, but the issue is that like when you introduce cadence drills in running, you don't suddenly start galloping or doing like the figure 8 or going sideways off the track, right?
Skippy.
I mean, nobody looking at you like you start doing cadence drills and everybody's like, what the shit are you doing? Because you still look like you're running.
And your head doesn't have to like stick up with you for breathing. You can still breathe. It doesn't change your breathing.
Yes.
Like in terms of like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like you don't suddenly look like a baby giraffe on the, on the track, right? It translates. But in swimming, that is not it. And so people like start trying to go fast and you're like, what is happening? Like the Tasmania devil just entered the pool. So you have to like, what you were trying to do is to teach your arms to actually move faster, right? And when you do that, you don't necessarily even need to be paying attention to technique as much, which I say carefully because people are going to think, you just want to do like maybe, 4 to 10 where you're just practicing on getting that cadence up.
Yeah, like a little tiny, what we would call fartlicks.
Yes.
But really, really tiny.
Yes.
Fartlick.
Yes. And so you're just introducing that. And then eventually you merge the two. So then your goal becomes, can you increase your cadence while still pulling hard and keeping your stroke? But those things don't just happen. You need to break it down into the little pieces you're looking for. So you're introducing a faster arm movement. You're also then learning how to pull effectively and pulling hard. Yeah. And then you kind of start to merge those things.
What I like about what you're talking about today is that, I have, with some of my patients who are the triathletes and they talk about their swim and, I'm not trying to coach them on their swim or anything, but they're just talking about it. Because I ask them, how are things going and stuff. And there's, obviously there's people that get super frustrated with their pace not changing.
Yes.
While they're working on these things, I feel like don't even look at the freaking watch. Don't start looking at that. Just work on the drills. Trust the process. It's going to come, but don't give up. Don't be like, well, that's not working because I'm not faster in the water yet. Like if you have somebody that you're working with that you're giving them these things. I mean, what is a great, assuming they're working on something consistently and they're doing their workouts and stuff. What's a timeline for like the average person to like to get this going to actually see some results?
Well, and so I mean it varies,
person,
right?
Obviously.
It varies wildly, but I usually tell people, and this is, please do not just turn off the podcast or start punching your radio
and give up
because
your radio. Don't throw your phone.
Don't throw your phone. I mean, I generally tell people to look at swimming in year-long chunks, like. Right. And so you are looking at something and look at where you will be a year from now. And that's like encouraging. And if you're looking for micro progressions along the way, I ask you to remember something. Swimmers will work for.
Like swimmers that are just swimmers.
That are just swimmers. Yeah. I mean, you will work for an entire year to drop a second off of 500. Right.
Oh.
Right. And or like look at the Olympics. And it was so fascinating when we watched the swimming Olympics because they were talking about how few PRs there are at the Olympics. These people are training 8 hours a day for swimming and they're not PRing at the Olympics. So, my friends, there are different ways to get better. And a really important one for triathletes is that you are able to swim the same amount of distance at less effort. People want to punch me in the face when I say that. But if you can do that and you can get in the swim, and that means that your morning is not preoccupied with stressing about the swim, and then you can get in and it doesn't take all of your energy and it's not burning all of your glucose and you're not breathing like a maniac and all of this stuff, you have gotten back like not just the time in the days before leading up to the race that you've worried about the swim, but you've gotten like 4 to 5 hours back the morning of that is taking significantly less energy by the time you factor in how much worry you have about the swim and then you actually do the swim and how much that impacts your bike and your run. So I cannot overstate the importance of that, and that the clock and the other thing that, when you were watching the clock and swimming, the improvement happens within the seconds. So if you are somebody who like you normally hit a 101 for your 50s and you hit a 1 minute 0.5, that is significant. And that's what I look for when I'm coaching somebody or when I was on deck and I was coaching swimming. Those it feels like nothing. And if you come from a background that's not running, or depending on the kind of running, people don't appreciate that. But that is the progress you're looking for. And so those are the little micro progressions. And you can set goals from those. And so like if you're really frustrated when you go in there, maybe you're going to say, okay, well, once a week, I'm going to time my 25 or I'm going to time my 50. And that's the thing that you get to watch the clock on and be like, can I hit my 50 in less than 30 seconds today? And you're going to try it. And that's like giving you something to work on, but you don't have to drag that clock into working on your drills all the time.
Yeah,
right?
I love that. And I think the takeaway for this just for all of our podcast episodes is efficiency.
Yeah.
It's all about efficiency.
It is.
In the tri sport.
Yeah.
With all three of the sports.
Yeah. And you're doing great. I mean, swimming is the type of thing I used to say, if I show up once every 2 weeks and have a day where it feels like it clicks, then I'm doing great. Yeah. But most of the time you get in there and it doesn't feel good, or you've just, and you know, some days are like, just like I have one day every 2 weeks that might feel really good, I might have one day every 2 weeks that just feels like an absolute nightmare. But most days fall somewhere in between where it's like, you're just like really not sure you're making progress and it feels like a slog and blah, blah, blah. You're doing it right.
But hang in there, my friends.
You are. And look for those days.
If you were like me, where you were like, well, maybe I will only swim once or twice this week.
Well, then,
it's gonna all happen a little slower.
It's a different conversation. You know.
Okay.
You celebrate your victories, though. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, we are in this together.
Until next time.